Here's Johnny!
If, like me, you've got kids, then you'll know that going to the cinema can be quite an expensive day out. Not only for the price of the tickets, but the popcorn and the drinks too. So with that in mind, there was really only one choice in which summer blockbuster I was going to take my kids to. And it wasn't these two. Prince of Persia, yeah, it looked good from the trailer, but reviews that I'd read of this movie gave it a bit of a mixed reaction. And considering that I've just recently reviewed the worst video game movies ever on a previous episode of the Big Daddy D reviews, well, let's just say that alarm bells were ringing. Think I'll wait for the rental on that one, to be honest. Shrek Forever After, meanwhile, just looked like a desperate last-ditch attempt to try and squeeze what was left out of this franchise. Yeah, Shrek the Third wasn't as good as the first two, but Shrek got his happily ever after in the end, didn't he? Making a fourth movie just seemed a bit too much, really. Especially when you consider that the writers clearly couldn't be asked coming up with anything new and just did the It's a Wonderful Life type storyline. In the end, there was really only one choice, and that was Toy Story 3. It's amazing to think that it's been 15 years since the first movie came out. So what's taken so long? Well, I suppose it's really down to the fact that Pixar actually care about good storytelling and not just putting out a film that looks nice. This is something that I think a lot of these other movie studios that make CGI animated films need to learn. There has also been quite a story leading up to the making of Toy Story 3, as there's been a fair amount of friction between Disney and Pixar over the years, which went as far back as Toy Story 2. Disney decided that they didn't need Pixar anymore and they were just going to do Toy Story 3 without them, as they already owned the rights to the characters. Disney had a storyline planned out where all the Buzz Lightyears go faulty and have to be recalled. The toys then have to travel to Taiwan, or somewhere like that, to rescue Buzz where they meet other recalled toys along the way. Sounds like the type of film that goes straight to video, doesn't it? But then, after Disney's own CGI movies such as Chicken Little and Meet the Robinsons turned out to be, well, let's be honest here, complete and utter shite, Disney panicked and decided to kiss and make up with Pixar. Later, some of Pixar's co-founders ended up becoming top bods at Disney, with the first ruling made was that Disney's version of Toy Story 3 would be scrapped completely and production would start again from scratch, but this time completely under Pixar's control. Well, all I can say is, thank God for that, because if there's one studio that never seems to put a foot wrong, it's Pixar. Every single film they've made has been excellent. Considering that Toy Story 2 was 11 years ago, you would have thought that a sequel wasn't really necessary. But the film did bring up the question a few times as to what the fate of Andy's toys would be in later years. What would happen when Andy grows up and has no need for his toys anymore? Personally, I have another big question. Where is Andy's dad? We see his mum, but not his dad. What happened? Did Andy's parents separate when he was younger? Is he just busy at work all the time? Or has Andy's dad passed away? If that is the case, let me ask another question. Was Woody the toy of Andy's dad? It would certainly make sense. It would explain why this old cowboy doll from an old black and white kids TV show would be Andy's favourite toy. It's probably the only thing that Andy has left to remember his dad. Obviously, Woody meant everything to Andy for a while. The wallpaper, the bed sheets, the cowboy hat. All for a toy that was beyond Andy's time. But a toy that meant the most to him. Because playing with Woody made it feel like his dad was there with him. Okay, maybe I'm putting too much thought into this, but I feel this is a question that could have been answered and should have been answered during Toy Story 3. But anyway, the film opens up with some home video footage of Andy playing with his toys. This takes place after the events of Toy Story 2, and these turn out to be the golden years of the toy's life. The film then takes the bold step of skipping ahead a few years and showing us the harsh reality of Andy having outgrown all his toys. Ah, you're not so optimistic now, are you, Woody and Buzz? You reckoned out at the end of Toy Story 2 that everything was going to be okay, didn't you? You can say to infinity and beyond as much as you like that the day has finally come when playtime has officially ended. The years haven't been kind and the toys have already started to dwindle in numbers. Wheezy and Lenny are gone, which was kind of expected really due to the passing away of Joe Ranft, along with the likes of RC, Mr. Spell and Etch-a-Sketch. Even Little Bo Peep, the love of Woody's life, is gone. The Little Green Army Men make a brief appearance at the beginning of the film too, but they've rapidly dwindled in numbers too, with only a few of them left. Seeing the writing on the wall, they decide to leave Andy's bedroom forever. The toys begin to panic as they come to face their own mortality, and for how much they're going for on eBay. Andy, now 17 years old, is packing away his childhood possessions in preparation for him moving to college. No doubt if they do a Toy Story 4, we'll see Andy with some new toys. Andy decides to take Woody with him to college and puts all his remaining toys into a black bin liner with the intention of keeping them in the attic. But Andy's mum mistakenly takes the bag out with all the rubbish. Believing that Andy no longer wants them, the toys escape from their bin liner prison and climb into a cardboard box meant for toy donations to a local daycare centre. Woody goes with them and tries to persuade his fellow toys that it was all a mistake, but they're convinced that Andy was just trying to get rid of them.
Toys!
Andy's toys receive a warm welcome from the toys at the daycare, including Lotso, the Lotso-hugging bear, and the ever so slightly camp Ken doll, who gives Andy's toys a tour of the daycare. Everything seems so perfect at first, but it doesn't stay that way for much longer. This paradise soon becomes a prison, as Andy's toys are dropped off in a different playroom that is far from the calm and serene room that they were shown around. This room is instead full of destructive children, far too young for them, and very soon the toys are, quite innocently, getting the shit beaten out of them, which was both funny and alarming to watch at the same time.
Where's my nose?
Here it is.
Here's your arm.
Give me that. That's
Honey,
mine.
the mustache?
The only original character lucky enough to avoid this room is Barbie, who Ken takes an interest in. Although, to be honest, I think it was more interested in getting into her leg warmers rather than their knickers.
Nice ass cut.
When Buzz talks to Lotso about the possibility of changing rooms, it turns out that Lotso isn't the friendly, lovable, huggable bear he first seemed. Instead, Lotso is angry, bitter and cruel, all because his owner accidentally lost him and he felt abandoned. Upon showing his more sinister side, Lotso turns out to be the movie's main baddie, ruling over the toys with an iron fist. Well, a furry paw to be more precise, but you get the idea. Woody has already left the nursery prior to this discovery, and of course the rest of the film is dedicated to him breaking his friends out of their prison. I really don't want to give away too much in terms of spoilers, but let me just say that without a doubt, this is the best film I've seen all year. It doesn't matter if you have kids or not, you really need to go and see this. Although I should point out that this movie is much scarier than the first two. Lotso's creepy baby doll enforcer known as Big Baby, with his bald head and lazy eye, reminded me of Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th without his mask. And don't get me started on that tambourine monkey. That is one scary motherfucker. The incinerator scene was also a scary moment for the kids in the audience, yet at the same time it was one of the most heartfelt and moving scenes I have ever seen in an animated film. As Andy's toys all held each other's hands, closed their eyes and seemingly accepted their fate, I was getting all choked up. This was like a scene out of Schindler's List. The new characters are a great addition to the nostalgic Disney Pixar story, and the old characters are given plenty of screen time as well. Buzz even gets reprogrammed by Lotso to become the deluded space ranger he was in the first film, but then he switches to a funny new personality that you've no doubt seen from the trailer. Buzz even develops a romance with Jessie, which was only hinted at the end of the last film. Although Lotso's backstory makes you understand why he is so angry and bitter, all he's really doing here is just retreading similar ground to what Stinky Pete did in Toy Story 2. If he could have had a last-minute redemption at the end and realised the error of his ways, this would have been much better, I feel. Although, when we come to the very last scene in the film, I defy you not to have a lump in your throat or find yourself trying not to cry in front of your kids. Because as Andy is saying his final goodbye to all his toys, we're saying goodbye to them as well.
The thing that makes Woody special is he'll never give up on you. Ever.
I'm fine. There has not been a single weak moment in the entire Toy Story trilogy. Sod Star Wars and bollocks to Lord of the Rings. Toy Story might just be the best movie trilogy ever made. If this is truly the final chapter for Pixar's toys, then this is a suitable and touching send-off. I'm going to do a rare thing here, and I'm going to give this film, this one single film, 2 thumbs up.